All right, so imagine you're a dog. You've had something wrong with your neck for a while. It's kind of hard to breathe at times, hard to eat. You still have energy, but it just feels kind of weird anyway. Your owner takes you to the vet. They prop you up on that little cold table. And, this lady comes in. She has like a bag of vials. Like, oh, man, what's going on today? What are we doing? This seems fun. What's going on? Oh, wait. And then she grabs your arm and you're like, wait, why are you shaving my arm? This feels silly. I guess this is a fun new game we're playing. Oh, you're feeding me chocolate. Oh, that's so nice. Ow, why are you poking my arm? Anyway, you're feeding me chocolate. Oh, this is so nice. I'm getting things that I've just never had before. And then you like slowly fall asleep and just fade to oblivion. Anyway, I think that is very similar to what the LA Coliseum and what the LA Clash is doing for NASCAR, because I think it's giving not only things that we've never had before, or that you're not really supposed to intertwine with racing, but I believe it's giving the wrong feel to the quote-unquote 55 to 70% of first-time NASCAR and motorsport ticket holders that are going to this event. And look, NASCAR has done so much over the offseason, and specifically this month, of just pissing in the fans' faces. It's crazy. We'll talk about Martinsville and some other things here, but I really just want to focus on the Clash, because I truly believe this is a gimmick. It's a joke of an event, and we're talking purely from a sporting or a sports betting, which I don't do that, but sports betting DFS type of outlook. If you're an event holder, I think it's going to be a great time. Clearly, if I was in LA, if I lived there, I'd probably try and grab a ticket to this just because I would just want to see the shit show in person. But in terms of what racing is and what NASCAR, the image that I think they're trying to at least show, I think this is just a bad move. Obviously, they've invested quite a bit of money into this, about $1.2 million to build this little racetrack. I'm assuming that they're probably paying at least $80,000 on at least higher up insurance policies, just because it's a new venue. Obviously, it's a LA venue, and that's not me saying like, oh, they're going to pay that like if somebody gets injured. No, that's just usually, I would assume, what the baseline is for an event and a track this size, especially when you have guys inside the infield, because I know here in Texas and in New Mexico, certain places make you pay a premium, or they charge you out the ass to cover you in case something happens if you have people inside the infield and they get injured or whatever happens. So I'm assuming that they're probably investing at least probably $1.7 million into not technically the renovations of the track, but obviously laying down the pavement, bringing in the safer barriers, building the track, getting ready, around the venue with, I don't know, probably NASCAR related stuff, whatever. This is no small investment on NASCAR's part, but in terms of what the product we're going to get out there, this is going to be horrible. And this, Brandon, you always call everything. Everything is trash that they do. The fucking Bristol race is garbage. I can't believe they're reinvesting money into that. Trucks at Knoxville was hot garbage. And this is just going to be a joke, because you either run into two situations here. One, and we'll kind of go on a tangent here, then we'll get back to product number two. Well, honestly, product one is nothing happens, because these teams don't want to tear up their equipment, because this next gen car was not ready to ship. It was not ready to ship. I brought that up in the video early in January, and I brought it up last year, and it's apparent, clear as day now, that this was not ready to ship. NASCAR was not ready. The supplies were not ready. They should have waited a year, and they should have done better preparation last year. I can't believe it took them so long to figure out what type of package they wanted to run. Imagine if they didn't waste the time making these teams build, or at least come up with certain motors that were 550, less than 550, slightly different configurations of the bodies. For Christ's sakes, they couldn't even keep the drivers warm. They couldn't even keep the drivers cool when this car first came out. They were worried about driver issues, driver safety, overheating issues, things of that nature. Like, there were so many hurdles that they ran over that they could have fixed if they did this over the course of like a year and a half or something. And you can say that, they've been working on this next gen car for at least 2 years now. But yeah, in terms of actual testing, they shoved in really what should have been a year and a half of testing to around 6 months, and really making the teams, either rebuild things and adjust different cars or just different components on the car. And for crying out loud, we couldn't even get the fucking steering rack and pinion assembly to not goof around the first 4 road courses that we went to, the first 4 road course tests that we went to. Like, the amount of I'm going to say laziness. I don't think it's necessarily laziness, but I'll say it's that. And the amount of time that NASCAR really put into this next-gen car and getting everything ready for these teams was very little. Like, it was very much so like, We're getting it ready. You're going to run it in 2022. We need a new car, despite the fact if you just ran a higher, big motor, smaller blade, and the old car probably would have at least saved you for 2022 if you need another year. But anyway, bringing these cars to the Coliseum, it's almost an exact 180 of the psychology and the mentality that they had in the 90s. In the 90s, it was, we don't want to be tearing up cars. We don't want to be running these short tracks that just end up wrecking up cars, and these fans don't like it. So we're going to go to these bigger markets and build 1.5 mile racetracks to where people don't see cars get destroyed, because we want to escape the image of guys just wrecking. We want to escape the image of just these southern, hicks, banging off each other at these short tracks, North Wilkesboro, and other tracks that I just can't think of off the top of my head. But yeah, we're gonna abandon these markets and go to these big 1.5 miles. And now it's, well, we're going to go to those big markets, but we're going to build the smallest fucking racetracks in the world and race around them, and hopefully we'll get some action. I mean, we're wanting wrecks. Obviously, that's what we're promoting now. We're promoting the Game 7 moment every week in the playoffs. We're promoting the rivalries in this sport, and so I don't understand what image NASCAR is really going for. So I have no issue with the music and the stuff. Like, honest to Christ, I hope they stick through it. And I have never wished for a fatal accident more than the Clash. I hope somebody's stuck upside down on fire and they're playing music. I would just absolutely love that. I would pay to fucking see that. So the caution clock, or not the caution clock, the caution concert, or the music during the caution fest, honest to God, just stick to it. And it's so dumb, because at this point, NASCAR is saying, oh, these cars are so safe, there's no reason to worry about fucking anything. These drivers are going to walk away from anything at all. It's so safe, we're going to be playing music during this. Brandon, they're racing at like a 1/8 mile track. You can still get injured. Look, racing is on a razor's edge between an adrenaline rush and death. It's always been that way. I've been fortunate enough to share racing with somebody that I care about recently that really hasn't been involved in racing, or really hasn't seen a ton of racing, and seeing old motorsports through their eyes and showing them like where this sport came from. I don't mean NASCAR entirely, but racing in general. You had the 1920s times at Indianapolis, or even before that, but you have the racing at Indianapolis back in the 20s, back in the 30s, of these guys building these hunks of junks and death traps, going around that place at 130, 140 miles an hour, with just doing it because you wanted to do it. You wanted to feel the speed. You go through the years of building cars, of escaping the type of the moonshine type of the bootlegging history of NASCAR, and you move away from that and to the 50s and 60s of guys going out there. They're working on their car because they love to race. They were racers. They wanted to be out there. They wanted to feel the speed. Discounting all the safety issues that they had then, like, those guys were out there knowing damn well any race can kill you, and they're doing it because they love it. You go through the years, you see how F1 has evolved, you've seen how road racing has evolved, you've seen how IMSA has evolved, and the passion that these guys had, the people that worked on these cars, the feel of the motor, the machine with you that connected you to the race cars. Like, that's what I love about motorsports. I love going fast. I want to go fast. That's why I want to fucking race cars. I'm not a fan of taking or leaving that mentality, or having people that not necessarily want to leave it, but like, look, short track racing is fun and all, but I want to go fucking fast. Like, I want to haul ass. I don't care if it's on the salt flats in Utah or Nevada or where that is. I just went blank. Whatever. I don't care if I'm breaking land speed records. I don't care if I'm at a drag strip. I just want to feel speed. I want to feel power in the motors. Personally, that's why I'm not a fan of shorter tracks like this, because you don't necessarily have that power. Sure, the cars might sound good, but you're getting up to like 65. That's not really, I don't know. Outside of the rant there, I feel like these fans are going to get, like I said, a bad idea, because we either turn this race into guys just dumping the shit out of each other, which would not be very financially or strategically smart due to the fact that most of these cars in this Clash are going to be ran more times this year. Sometimes, if you listen to Joey Logano, He's talked about the possibility of running this Clash car at Auto Club in 2 weeks. And so you don't just want to keep destroying equipment. And so if NASCAR is wanting the whole, drama and spitting people out and the bump and run, well, you're using it when these teams don't have the resources to just destroy shit left and right. Now, not only do you have that, but you now have the duels that you now have to worry about again, in terms of you're a team owner, in terms of you're working on these cars, because originally we were expecting, 39, 38 cars, maybe 40 for the Daytona 500. Nobody's going home. You could just, you could start and park the duels. It wouldn't matter. You're just saving the car. Now you got to worry about guys trying to race their way in. You got to worry about wrecks before you even get to the 500. It's just, I don't understand the point of NASCAR doing all this, because you're wanting these guys to race all out. You're adding some purse to the Clash. Okay, wow, like you still pay out dog shit payouts to anybody outside the top 7. You're still burning money. You're not in racing to make money. The Clash is just it's so dumb, man. It's so dumb. So anyway, that's my rant on the Clash and the caution. Oh yeah, well, I mean, we'll keep talking about the caution concerts. Like I said, if I was a significant other of a driver at any racetrack, if they're involved in a crash, you have worry in you. You're like, man, I hope they're okay. Now, like, NASCAR is basically saying you don't got to worry about anything. As I said, we're going to be playing music during the cautions. And I doubt it's going to be as soon as the yellow drops, the bass drops as well. But still, like, if everything's this safe, open these motors up. Let those horses sing. Let them run on these big tracks. Let's say fuck it and let's go back to running 212 at Daytona and Talladega. I want to go fast. I'm a race car driver. I'm a fan. I want to see guys go fast. NASCAR, you basically just said nobody's going to die, You're like, oh, Newman survived because we're so safe, despite the fact, gave a millimeter here or there. Newman's as dead as a doorknob. You got Larson flying through the fence. You got Austin Dillon somehow surviving. All these are just luck situations that are lining up. And NASCAR's like, nah, man, these cars are safe. I'm honestly surprised they even have safer barriers at this track, to be honest with you. Like, yeah, like, with NASCAR basically saying, yeah, any wreck, we're going to be playing music and stuff. That's why I'm like, they don't care. Like, it's so dumb. It's so dumb, man. NASCAR doesn't give a shit about these cars, about these drivers, about whatever. They're just here for the entertainment. And so, the Clash, I think it's going to be a disgusting race to play DFS on, because you could easily have a guy lead 100 laps in this race and get taken out at the end of the race. You can easily have one guy just walk away with the race because nobody wants to race at all. I just don't like it at all. I don't like it in terms of DFS. I don't like it in terms of anything, really. So yeah, that's the Clash. Let's move on and talk about Martinsville real quick. I thought it was this is out of left field that they're cutting the laps at Martinsville from 500 to 400 for the night race. In the spring fall race, still going to be 500. But yet again, who the fuck wants less racing? As a man who pays for tickets to go to racetracks, why who the fuck are they? The fan council is saying that they want shorter races. Who wants races? Who wants shorter races? These TikTokers that don't have an attention span. Like, if anything, I can't believe they're not wanting to get rid of road courses, because road courses as a viewer are fucking boring. Not even in NASCAR, in anything. Like, road courses are probably the most fun as a driver, because you're in there. Obviously, if you're working on cars, you're having fun anyway. But as a driver, road courses would be the most fun. Road courses and just flying at Daytona and Talladega would be the most fun. So, like... But as a viewer, they would suck. They're boring. Nobody passes. NASCAR's only made the road courses interesting because they literally force people to take each other out, because they go to botched racetracks like the Roval. Man, the Roval's such a great racetrack. You just like that because they have 500 restarts in that race. They just tear shit up left and right. What are we talking about? Anyway, I would be very annoyed if I had already bought tickets to that race, and I mean, you're easily losing an hour and 15 worth of the event. You know, look, when I'm paying fucking $160, $180 for a ticket, and obviously they're much cheaper. I'm just assuming. I'm going off of what the higher row tickets at Phoenix are. But if I'm paying anywhere close to that, or like $130, $100, $80, whatever the case is, I want to have a good experience. I don't like having things taken away from fans, and certainly Martinsville, like the one track that doesn't need laps taken away, you're taking laps off of. Like, I'm not a fan of shorter races in general, but fuck me sideways. Martinsville was the one track where I would have kept it 500 for both races. It's certainly a night race. Like, night races are amazing. Why would you cut that value? You know why? It's because of the TV networks. That's literally it. It's because it's a night race. The TV networks don't want to risk losing viewers. They just want to keep you there for prime time, and that's it. That's really all it is. So I wish NASCAR would just come out and say, look, man, Fox did not want this night race to be 4.5 hours long. You know, they're wanting to try and get it in the window so they don't have to cover it a ton. That's the real reason behind that. Not because, the fan council or, fans are wanting less time and, it's a night race. Everybody wants to get home. Fuck. Have you ever been to a real short track, NASCAR? Have you ever been to a real racetrack, a local racetrack? You don't get done until 1 a.m. in the morning. If you're a track worker, you're not getting home until 4 o'clock in the morning. If you're on a race team, you're not sleeping till at least 6 in the morning. I don't get it at all. Anyway, that's unfortunate for the fans that are clearly annoyed at Martinsville losing 100 laps, losing a good portion. You're losing the fifth of the race. Are you kidding me? That's crazy. That's absolutely nuts. Especially at night. What a great atmosphere to be at. And unfortunate that they're doing that. The Clash is such a gimmick. It's so stupid. It's such a dumb event. What else have we done? The whole Let's Go Brandon coin with Brandon Brown. That shit was botched up and down the street to end the year and start the year. I mean, it's like NASCAR is just constantly trying to make people mad. And then I can't believe they rescinded the fine against Mike Harmon. I'm happy because there's no fucking way they could have afforded that. Or they could have afforded that. But the rules are black and white. Harmon took one old car and one current car to a basically not really a car show, but an event more. I'm gonna say I'll use a car show, not the correct term, but anyway, he took it to Rockingham. Went around the track because people were there to see it, and NASCAR is like, no, we can't do that. And so, Mike Harmon's like, I'm so sorry, I'm too poor. 50,000 is fucking huge for me and my team. We don't even have that on a weekly basis for the season. Can you please get rid of that? And I can't believe NASCAR let that go. I think it's very similar to Carl Long being fined $250,000 for having an illegal motor at Charlotte back in 08, 09, somewhere around there. And Carl, same situation. He's like, look, I can't afford it. This was not done on purpose or with any malicious intent, where I think Harmon would probably lose that argument quicker. And they banned Carl Long because he couldn't pay it until that ban was over. That's why Carl Long was out of the sport for so long as an owner and a driver. Mike Harmon starting, 75 points taken away through, or minus 75 owner points to start the year off is nothing. They're not racing for anything. That's not hurting their playoff chances. I can't believe, man. There's been so many things going on. So many, maybe not even miscommunications, but so many contradicting things that NASCAR has done, and idiotic things in a PR sense that they've done over the last month. It's been really incredible. Last thing is we're finally getting some information out there in terms of sponsors and in terms of teams, and that's kind of why I've waited so long to put out, and it's not even necessarily a preview for each series, but I don't know how people aren't getting sponsors early in the year. I don't know how we're basically 2 weeks away from Daytona, from the season starting, and we're just barely announcing sponsorships. Like, that's a sign that these teams are struggling to find money. I know that there's more teams out there for Xfinity than normal. I know there's more teams out there than Truck than normal. I know we got guys coming out of the woodworks for the Cup Series, but when you're having that much trouble finding sponsorships as if you're a smaller team, or if you're in one of these smaller series and you don't even know who's going to drive your car, you're still looking through drivers, like, that's it's getting worse and worse through the years. I remember last year we mainly had a lot of the news done around mid-January, still a bit worrying, but when you go back, a lot of these deals and a lot of this news was confirmed and finalized in November, in December of the previous year, not necessarily 2 weeks away from the season starting. That's just what I mean. Like, I loved what NASCAR was, but I just dislike what it is now, man. I feel the drive is lost. I feel that the thing that connected, a lot of car guys and a lot of car people is really gone. You don't have drivers working on their cars. And I'm not saying every driver needs to be an engineer. I'm not saying every driver needs to build that car, be a part of the team, but in a sense of, like, just how it is. I don't know. I'm just ranting at this point. I had to at least get this out of my system for a bit. Probably wasn't the best cruise control episode, but wanted to at least get that out there so I can make other videos and not have to rant and complain about everything. So, and thank you for listening. Well, yeah.